Subscribers to this channel are probably pretty fully aware at this point that folding phones are some of my favorite devices on the market, but you probably also know, if you're a subscriber to this channel, that rolling phones have been something I've really been excited to see take off as well. I think that it might solve some of the bigger issues with folding phones, namely how visible that crease can be on some devices. If you don't have a hinge, you're a lot less likely to have a visible crease. Well, that brings me to the bit of news from today, because this individual, Ben Wood, who I was unaware of until this morning, but Ben, thank you for the tweet that I'm about to be showing of yours. They tweeted something this morning, or maybe it was last night, I don't know, they tweeted something very, very recently from MWC 23, that's Mobile World Congress 23, and it hasn't actually started yet, but that hasn't stopped Ben from getting their hands on a very interesting device and tweeting out a very interesting video. And what you see here is that very device. Now you may be thinking, Shane, that just looks like an LG Optimus Vu from back in the day, and I could forgive you for feeling that way because it does indeed put me in that mind as well. But there's more to the story with this device as we roll this video. You'll see here in a moment, it appears maybe there's a button on the side here that Ben is going to press, and then what happens is this device rolls up, revealing, first off, Moto RIZR, that's pretty funny, but revealing a much larger screen that was hidden, wrapped around the bottom side of the device. It scrolls back down and resets the interface. Very, very cool. Flipping around to the back, you can actually see where that display goes around the back side of the device and how that mechanism works to open and close it. This is all very, very interesting to me. So let's scroll down here. And he posted some pictures. Here's a few pictures for people who have been asking. So from this angle here, I think that this thing actually is quite a nice looking and interesting looking device. The way that the screen kind of wraps around the bottom. We've seen, curved screens off the side, but we don't ever see them curved around the bottom. And by virtue of this, it looks very, very unique. On the back side here, you can see where that screen goes around the back. And it looks like it kind of goes up underneath this bit of like faux leather. Who knows, maybe it's real leather. And it looks like there's a drop off up here where the camera is. It allows space for that screen to go into in a protected way. Of course, one thing that immediately popped out to me was the thought of like, man, is this thing going to be fragile? What about this top bit here? How easy would that be to snap that thing off? Probably going to be quite fragile. And then also you can notice down here that the screen is actually bubbled up a little bit, okay? And that probably has something to do with just how the thing, when it rolls all the way up, the circumference of how it's able to curve in some way. For some reason, they don't seem to be able to get it to be flat there. Now, this is not a ready-to-ship device, so I would imagine that by the time something like this is ready to ship, that's probably going to be flat. And not to say that this exact prototype will ever be ready to ship, because this may not ever be an actual product. Now, as Ben mentions in his replies, though, one big thing that differentiates this from some of the other concepts is that Motorola actually put it in his hand and let him try it. Most of these concepts do not have that sort of thing going on. They're behind glass, someone demos them for you, but you don't actually ever touch the thing. So they are fairly confident about this thing, and it looks like a relatively finished product if you ignore that sort of thing going on there. But again, I am quite concerned about the fragility of that bit of screen hanging over the top. But you have to compare this with other rolling phone concepts like the one that Samsung has shown off, like this one that they showed off about a year ago, which appears to be a device where the actual body of the device is scrolling out as well to help protect this thing, so you don't have a bit of screen hanging over the edge like you do here. Now, Samsung has also shown off a vertical rolling concept, which I'm struggling to find the video of. I can't remember where I saw it at, but you can kind of imagine it based on this bit here. It does appear that, yeah, they want to have the body be behind the device. So two very different ways of approaching this sort of design, which are going to have different advantages. Obviously, this way has fewer moving parts and maybe the ability to have a larger battery in the body, simply because things are having to move around in there. Maybe with something like this, they're going to have to build the hinge top and bottom, so maybe the battery size won't be affected, maybe the internal space won't be affected too much, but it definitely is more moving parts. It's to have to deal with. So definitely pros and cons with either way of doing it. But at any rate, still very, very cool, very exciting to see Motorola in particular coming up with something new. They were kind of one of the pioneers with their reborn RIZR device. So I think it's very cool to see them continuing to experiment with stuff like this. Guys, if you want to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button before you go. I will see you on the next one. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.